Yo, what is up, guys? It's Pedro here, and the Washington football team just lost the Baltimore Ravens 37 to 3. That was an absolutely dreadful game. So we'll be recapping it, talking about some of the players that helped improve their chances of making the roster, and some of the players that didn't perform well and probably won't be making the final 53-man roster. So if you guys are new, make sure to subscribe for Washington and NFL content. I'm 50 subscribers away from 6,000, so please, please, please help me get there. Also hit that like button and turn on your notifications. Let's get into this video. Okay, I'll try to make this quick because, again, that was an absolutely miserable game. First, let's start off with, all the players that missed today's game, because you have to keep that in mind. The Ravens, they just go try-hard mode in the preseason. They've won now 20 games in a row, and they played all their starters at least for the first possession, and some of those guys played, 2 or 3 possessions, and some of them went into the second quarter against our second, third, and fourth team. Look at all these players that didn't play. Pretty much 30 guys didn't dress because I think there's over 25 right here. 25 players right here, but then you got to include Curtis Samuel, William Jackson, and a couple other players. But I mean, Ryan Fitzpatrick didn't play. Taylor Heineke didn't play. I mean, we were playing with our third and fourth string quarterbacks, and this result is to be expected when you don't have your, Fitzpatrick, Logan Thomas, Terry McLaurin, De'Ami Brown, Antonio Gibson, your whole starting offensive line, a lot of your, some of your backup offensive line in Wes Schweitzer, your whole defensive line except for Tim Settle. And we'll talk about that because it's pretty interesting that Tim Settle played the whole game and James Smith-Williams did not play at all. That is very, very interesting right there. And basically the whole starting secondary with some backups as well did not play. And like I said, the Ravens, their first team offense played for possession, and some of those guys played into the second and third possessions. And then their defense, I saw Patrick Queen, who's their starting linebacker, play into, with like 5 minutes left in the second quarter, but still not a great, showing by the Washington football team. We'll start off with the quarterbacks. Kyle Allen did not look great. There were some drops though. By Jarrett Patterson had a couple. There's a couple other drops, but still didn't play great. 10 for 22, 100 yards. He didn't play great. Steven Montez also was not good at all. 5 for 10, 28 yards, average of 2.8 yards. That is not good at all. Both of those guys struggled, but Steven Montez looked a little bit lost out there, especially on those reads. He just sometimes it's like you just hand the ball off. I thought the running backs also struggled, except for Jonathan Williams. I thought he played pretty well. 5 carries for 26 yards. I don't obviously think he has a chance to make this roster, but he's a good practice squad, running back to have. I think he was on the practice squad last year. Peyton Barber just didn't really look good. 4 carries, 12 yards, had a drop pass, missed a couple protections. Jarrett Patterson did not have a great game, but he was, he had a backup and third string offensive line, and the Ravens were playing some starters, but he did drop a couple passes that it's just uncharacteristic of him, because we've seen him make a bunch of those catches in the training camp and the preseason. He didn't have a good game. Still think he's going to make the roster because he's a dynamic threat out there. I thought AGG played pretty well. I mean, 4 catches, 39 yards. There was one pass that I thought he could have caught, but I think the cornerback did a nice job of breaking that up. And Dax Millen also looked pretty good out there. 3 catches, 36 yards. And one thing that's telling, I did not see DeAndre Carter out there at all today. Maybe it's because they know what he can do and want to see what Millen can do, but I really think Dax Millen is ahead of him on the depth chart. Dax Millen had 3 catches, 36 yards, also returned the punts. He looked pretty solid out there, and besides that, no one else really on the offense flashed. John Bates had a couple nice blocks, and also had a nice reception for 13 yards, and Sammis Reyes had that 1 catch for 2 yards, where I think it was Montez who saw him a little bit late. I was really hoping Sammis Reyes would get a little bit more work. I mean, especially with Logan Thomas being out for the whole game. And, they really only played John Bates' very, very vanilla offense, weren't really creative, and they didn't really get many plays because they kept on going on 3 and outs. We'll talk about the defense a little bit. Man, Tyler Huntley from the Ravens looked absolutely great out there. 24 for 33, 4 touchdowns. He looked really, really good out there. And what I would say is, our defenses that was out there against Lamar Jackson, they looked okay. I mean, the first possession, the Ravens went down the field, but, the Washington's defense was able to get a couple or one clutch sack, which, forced the Ravens to kick a field goal. They missed that. So the first team defense, quote unquote, first team defense from today looked okay before they started rotating some other guys in. But, really after the, first half of the first quarter, Washington's defense just got cut up, especially the linebackers. I really think Washington needs to go ahead and get some better linebacking depth because there's no reason that, Jared Norris or Jordan K is what I'm going to call him, should be on this roster. I know they're okay on special teams, but there's definitely some guys, from, other teams that are going to get cut at the linebacker position that can play better than them. I know Jordan had 10 tackles, but our linebacking core did not look that good today. Dale Roberts, he was okay. He made a really nice tackle for loss, but he also got burned a couple times. He got beat for a touchdown. He put his hand out there. That was a really nice play by the receiver. Let's see. Troy Apke did not look good out there as a corner, but on special teams, he did look good. Made a couple nice tackles. So he'll probably make the roster as a special teamer, but we don't really want to see him out there. William Bradley King looks solid out there. He was out there for a lot of the game. 4 tackles. He was pretty solid. David Vita looked pretty good. He had a sack. He was, out there for a while. I thought he played pretty well. And like I said, Tim Settle playing the whole game is a little bit weird to me because, he's a guy who, has established himself as a solid rotational player that, probably is a starter on most other teams. It's just very weird that he played this whole game. And someone like James Smith-Williams, who's in his second year, had a decent rookie year, but still not on, Tim Settle's level. He just didn't play. They rested him. So I thought that was pretty interesting. I don't think anything will happen, but maybe they work on a trade for Tim Settle. Maybe they can get something. I'm not sure, but I thought that was pretty interesting today. Torrey McTyer got injured, evaluated for concussion. I hope it isn't a concussion. I think he'll make the roster, though, as the 5th corner. He played pretty solid out there. Weren't many bright spots, but McTyer looked good. David Bada looked good. I thought William Bradley King was all right. Shaka Toney made a nice play. And, Jimmy Moreland was really the only player on our defense that could tackle. Everyone besides that and a couple others really couldn't do much on defense. And then I would say on offense, some guys that look good. Jonathan Williams, who's a practice squad guy. AGG, who I think is going to make this roster as a 6th receiver. Maybe they keep 7 and keep Dax Milne, or maybe they'll keep him on the practice squad. He had a nice 26-yard reception. One quick thing, John Keim said this, or not John Keim, Ron Rivera just said this via John Keim. Rivera said he didn't play the starters because we didn't want anybody to get hurt. Said he feels comfortable and confident with where the starters are in their development. And, I somewhat agree with that. I think, you want to keep your players safe. What I was hoping they would do, I thought that, they would rest the starters. I didn't think it was going to be to this extent with some backups as well. But I wish they would have had Fitz out there with most of the starting offense besides maybe someone like Terry McLaurin and Antonio Gibson, because we know they're good. We want to keep them healthy, but let Fitz go out there with the first team, give Diami, give Cam Sims some more reps. And the defense, I think, most of the defensive line didn't have to play, especially people like Chase Young and Montez Sweat. But maybe Matt Ioannidis could get some more snaps because he only played in 1 preseason game, didn't, play that much in camp because coming back from the, reserve list. So that's really it. But you also saw what happened with the Ravens. And, this tweet right here from Adam Schefter. On the night the Ravens won their 20th straight preseason game, now the longest streak in NFL history, they also suffered a loss at running back. One feels more significant than the other. So I think, Ron Rivera felt comfortable with the guys and, didn't want to get anyone injured. And I think that's a smart move. Yes, I would have liked to see the offense play a possession or so. But, there's some teams that aren't playing their starters really at all. Like the Chargers aren't playing Herbert, Derwin James, Keenan Allen and others this whole preseason. So we'll see if it's the right call or not. I really don't care about the result. The showing was not good. Definitely there was, it was not pretty pretty sight to see. But I think, you know, most of these guys will not be on the roster, won't even be on the practice squad next week once roster cuts come down. But, you know, biggest takeaways, like I said, I think AGG will make this roster. Even though Jarrett Patterson didn't play well, I think he will make the roster. And also, I thought he handled, you know, protection pretty well. He had a couple nice blitz pickups that I thought were pretty nice, and that's what you want as a third down back. So he didn't, you know, catch the ball really well or run the ball really well. Well, I mean, what I'll say is he only had 2 rushes, so you really can't say that. They didn't really give him that many carries, so I really think that shows that he will be on the roster. They didn't want to give him too many touches, get him injured out there. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it for today's video. I will have a final 53-man roster projection out tomorrow, so make sure you guys stay tuned for that. Should be pretty interesting. You know, really not much changed today except for maybe AGG, you know, solidifying that 6th spot, and, you know, maybe Troy Apke staying as a special teamer. Oh, I forgot to talk about this. Dustin Hopkins, man, what the heck happened on that kick? That was absolutely awful, that first kick. I don't know if it got blocked or not. You know, some guys are saying it did, some, you know, didn't. Regardless, it was a super low kick, and if it did get blocked, that was his fault because it was super low, and you do not want that as a kicker. At least he did make that 48-yarder, but still, I mean, it's been concerning, but, you know, he's still missing kicks, and that is very, very concerning. So thank you guys for watching. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit that like button, subscribe if you guys are new, and turn on those notifications so you never miss a video. Peace, guys.